Hello, welcome back. We're still on our series, on our ongoing series titled Abraham from birth to death. And in our last episode, episode 5, we discussed how Abraham first came to the land of Canaan while he was 55, and at the age of 58, when he was 58, Noah died at the age of 950. And after spending 15 years in the land of Canaan, he returned back to Haran, spent another 5 years, and the Lord appeared to him again and told him to return to Canaan, for it is in Canaan that he will be blessed. So he returned back to Canaan with all his possessions, and it was in this second journey, the return to Canaan, as it were, that Lot, his nephew, came with him. So this time, instead of settling in the midst of the Canaanites, where he had settled before about 20 years earlier, he settled now in Hebron, in the plain called Mamre, and he lived there for a long time. And then it got to a certain year, there was famine, serious famine in the land of Canaan. The people couldn't bear the hunger or starvation in the land, and people were running away. So Abraham decided to go to Egypt because of this famine. So he packed all his belongings, both their livestock, all the animals they have, all the servants, everybody, and set out for Egypt. So when they got to a place called the Brook of Mizraim, they rested because of fatigue from the journey. So while he was taking a walk with his wife Sarah, Abraham again looked upon his wife, and he saw that she was very, very beautiful. And they are going to Egypt. The people there aren't believers. They do not fear God, and so he was scared that he might be killed because of Sarah, and they'll take his wife and kill him. So he told Sarah right there that, look, if we get to Egypt, if the people of Egypt ask you who you are to me, tell them I'm your brother. Simple. And he called all his servants and instructed them, told them the same thing. Everyone agreed with him. But still Abraham was not satisfied. He was still scared that, look, maybe one of the servants or anyone could give it up, and so he decided to hide Sarah away. So he put Sarah in a crate, and hid her rather amongst the belongings they are traveling with. So Sarah was concealed, hidden away in a big box, and placed among their belongings, because Abraham is traveling with a lot of people, a lot of animals, and so they have a lot of properties they're traveling with. So they continued their journey. As soon as they got to the gate of Egypt, the guards, the servants of the king came out and said, as it is their custom, or as it was the custom of the day. I stressed that for a reason. We'll get to it later. They came up and said, you have to give a tithe, 1/10 of everything you are traveling with, to the king. Okay, now you see Abraham's actual tithe was not to the priest Melchizedek. We'll get to that. So Abraham had to pay tithe, 1/10 of for everything he's traveling with. He obeyed them because it was the custom of the day. When you come before a greater authority, or a greater authority comes to you, you give. Okay? So Abraham gave 1/10 of it all, and they let them move. But while they were trying to moving their belongings, the Egyptians guards saw that a crate was sealed, and so they asked Abraham, "What's in this crate? You didn't pay tithe for this." Abraham said, "I paid tithe for everything." Remember, they said, "No. Open this crate. Let's see the content. Then we can determine what the tithe is." Abraham said, "Look, whatever you demand of me, I'll pay. Anything at all. But do not open this crate." They said, "Look, we think the crate is filled with precious stones. So you have to give 1/10 of the precious stones that will fill this big crate." Abraham said, "Yes, whatever you say, I'll do. I'll pay 1/10 of it, but please do not open this crate." Now, when these people saw that Abraham was agreeing to all their terms, so they felt there must be something more valuable in that crate. So they forced their way and opened the crate. When they opened it, they beheld a very beautiful woman. The guards called other Egyptians, come and see. So they all gathered, moping at Sarah. There were princes and all that. There is no standing and just moping. So one of them broke away, ran to the Pharaoh and said, "Look, we beheld a beautiful woman from a stranger coming into our land." So when they described how beautiful, angelic this woman is, the king said, "Okay, go bring her before me." Most of us know this story from the basic Bible. So they went and brought Sarah to the king. When the king saw her, she was really, really beautiful. So he decided to take her as a wife, and took her into his palace. When this happened, of course, they let Abraham go after this. So Abraham went to his place to settle where they gave him. So Abraham prayed to the Lord and on behalf of his wife Sarah, that the king might not touch her. And Sarah also on her own prayed and told God, "Your servant Abraham obeyed you when you told him to leave his father's house amongst the people they know, to come live amongst strangers. And now, on account of famine in the land, they've left to come to this place so that they might have something to eat. And now this calamity, this evil has before them." So she prayed that the king do not touch her. And God heard the prayers of both of them and sent an angel to guard Sarah. So after a while, the king came up and sat opposite Sarai to discuss with her. And the angel of the Lord told Sarai, "Do not be afraid. God have heard your prayer and appeared to protect you." So the king first asked Sarah, "The man you came with, who is he to you?" And she said, "He's my brother." Because that's the instruction Abraham gave her. So she has to abide by those instructions. And the king said, "Very well. If he's your brother, then we are going to make him great. We are going to elevate him and give him everything a man ever desired on earth. In short, whatever you say will be given to him." So the king asked that Abraham be brought him. They brought Abraham, and the king asked Abraham too, "Who is she to you?" He said, "She's my sister." The king gave Abraham silver, gold, precious stones, everything. Abraham was made comfortable. He was given an apartment in the king's palace. So he was living in the king's yard. A plot of land was allocated to his animals and servants. And so Abraham was living large. And in the evening, the king, now after he has given everything to Abraham, remember that's the Sarah's bride price. So the man paid the bride price to Abraham. Now he's officially married to Sarah because the elder brother consented to the marriage and collected the price for her value. So the man now have authority to touch his bride. So in the evening he came to do what he's supposed, to touch his new bride. And there was problem. When he first lifted his hand to touch her, the angel of God smote the hand badly. The man was like, okay, what could that be? No, he thought it was. So he made other attempts. In one of the occasions, the angel of the Lord smote him and he fell on the ground. Well, they went to bed. And each time he attempted to touch her at night, there was problem. And all of a sudden, there was uproar in the palace. His servants were falling sick. People were down with different illness, and there was crying and wailing, and himself experiencing another. So he added one or two together and figured, okay, I think it's as a result of this woman. So he decided to stay away, left that room for her and went to another room. And as soon as he did that, the crying and wailing from the palace stopped automatically. Then he realized there is something about this woman that they are not telling me. So in the early hours of the morning, he called her back and now spoke to her very gently, thrilled her, and then asked her again, say, "Please tell me the truth. Do not lie to me. Who is the man that you were with yesterday?" And this time, Sarah opened up and said, "He is indeed my husband. But I was afraid because you people do not believe in God, that you might kill him just to take me. That's why I had to lie to you." And the king said, "What?" He sent that Abraham be brought him. So they brought Abraham in, and the king said, "What have you done? How could you have lied to me? You came to this land for rescue, and you lied to me?" Just like I asked your wife, who is this woman to you? You told me she's your sister. I gave you everything just to have a hand in marriage. You accepted them. And now look at what you've caused to me and my servants, bringing the wrath of God upon us. How could you have done that? And Abraham told him, look, I was afraid that you people might kill me. So for that, we had to lie. We came here because there's famine in our own land. And the king, now realizing that Sarah was indeed Abraham's wife, refrained completely from touching her, gave Abraham his wife, and gave him more gifts, and told them, you have to leave my land immediately. They accepted, but before they go, he took his daughter that was born to him by one of his concubines, and gave Sarah as a servant. He told the girl, look, it is better you live as a servant with this family than living as a mistress in my own house. Told his servants to ensure they escort Abraham and everything he owned out of the land. So they actually saw them off to the boundary of Egypt. Now, Abraham's visit to Egypt was short-lived, but he had gotten everything he wanted. He came only for food, but now he got food in abundance. Silver, gold, precious stones, cattle, more animals, and even servants. Because the king added a lot of servants. So Abraham's company was now larger. And so was that of Lot with him. Because on the account of Abraham, everyone with him were blessed. So Lot was also blessed with a lot. He had a lot of animals, servants, children born to him in his house by servants, silver, gold. He was rich also. So they journeyed out of Egypt and went back to Canaan. Now they have food, so they can stay there. But when they got to Canaan, instead of going back to the plain of Mamre in Hebron, where they left for Egypt from, Abraham decided to return to where he had lived earlier, so over 20 years ago, when he had first come out of Haran to Canaan. So the plot of land that was allocated to him that he lived for about 15 years was still there, so he went back there. But because their company, both his and that of Lot, is very large now, the land was not able to accommodate them, because both of these men has possessions. And so the headsmen of Abraham and that of Lot constantly had arguments as a result of this, because grazing land was in short supply. So they were constantly had quarrel, but that's not why they separated. Now, when Abraham's headsmen goes out to feed the animals, they avoided the farmlands of the locals of their place. But when the headsmen of Lot goes out to feed the animals, they always go into the land, the farmland of the locals. So the locals started complaining to Abraham. And Abraham called Lot and said, look, we are strangers in this land. You shouldn't be doing this, encroaching the farmlands of these people, feeding on their plants, even at times like this. These people are only trying to manage the little they have as a result of the famine in the land. We are strangers here. You don't want these people to come upon me one night and kill me and my family and my household. So please desist from it. But Lot wouldn't listen. Okay. Each time they still go out, they go to the land, and there was not constant quarrel between the locals and Abraham. So Abraham needed to figure out a way to stop it before these people pounce on him. So one day he called Lot and said, I've warned you severally to stop your herdsmen from feeding your cattle, your animals in their farmland. You've refused, and this has become a daily occurrence, and we are now beginning to quarrel daily. And we are family. We don't have to. Remember, Abraham was about, I think, 6 years older than Lot. Okay, we don't have to. So now, let's do something. Look, there is a lot of land outside this Canaan. Why don't you move to another land, another place, while I remain here? Look around, and wherever you want to go, you go. Okay? And Lot looked, and they saw the plain, like all the cities there. The plain was green. There was a lot of water, so it was a good place for the animals. You know, a good place to accommodate both him, his servants, and the animals. So he decided to move to the plains. And Abraham also moved a little away from him. Instead of remaining there in the midst, in the center of the Canaanites, he left there again and went back to the plain of Mamre in Hebron, where he had left for Egypt from. And before Lot left, he told him, look, whenever you are in trouble, signal me, send me a message, and I'll come to your rescue. Do not be afraid. We are only separating because we have so much possession this place is not enough to accommodate us. You are not separating to tear us apart. No. We still remain one family. Whenever anything happens, let me know, and I'll come to your rescue immediately. And so they separated, and Lot went to the plains, and then he settled in Sodom. Okay. He pitched his tent there in Sodom, and he dwelt there. Then Abraham lived in Hebron, in the plain of Mamre. And so there was no longer brawl between these two brothers. Just to put an end to that quarrel and to avoid having problem with the Canaanites with whom he was living. So he separated from his brother Lot. We'll stop here for today, and we'll take it up from here in our next class. I do hope you've learned a thing or two from this. If you have, please like and share. And remember, subscribe to our channel so you always be notified whenever I upload a new video. You have a very good night. From me to you.